The following views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the producers, hosts, and or guests of the Bittermarks podcast. We assume no responsibility for any errors or omissions in the content provided.
Listener discretion is advised.
Bittermarks! Bittermarks!
What's up, smooth babies? Welcome to Bittermarks. It's your favorite non-wrestling wrestling podcast coming to you for 100 weeks in a row to bittermarks.com or wherever you get your podcasts from. If this is your first time joining us, where have you been? It's been 100 weeks. But it's okay, we still want you here. We like you. We're sure you have plenty of questions, so feel free to email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. I'm your host, my name is Sasha, and I'm joined by my dear friend of over 20 years, former indie ref extraordinaire. We're going to call him Squirt Gun Kelly from here on out. It's Pee-wee.
What? I don't understand the nickname, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you're old, but there's a guy named Machine Gun Kelly, but that's a cool name.
Okay.
So you're going to be Squirt Gun Kelly from now on. How do you like that?
Sure. That's as long as you explain it to me every single time. That's fine. I can't believe it, dude. Hold on. 100 episodes. I can't believe that we have, one, not missed a week. Two, have continued to do this and continued to do this and continue to do this. And our listeners have not given up on us. I am shocked by every part of this past the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, I feel bad for them because they're like along because we're still doing it. They're not like, yeah, a new episode is
They're
out.
not cheering us on. We're just we're like the guys who run the 5K, and we're definitely not going to do well. We're going to walk for most of it, if not stop for most of it. But our family members still have to come out and then cheer us on, and they're very supportive is what they are. Yeah,
and I love how it's 100 weeks and you still can't get your camera to work.
I had a good run with my camera the past few weeks, man. It's been a mess. I explained it to you guys earlier. If you're watching this on YouTube, the reason that you cannot see me right now is because my wife was messing around with my webcam earlier, and I cannot undo whatever she did.
Yeah, and it's DDP's fault. We're joined today by the punctual prince of podcasting from parts unknown Illinois. It's producer Tony.
What's up, everybody? Woo! 100 episodes! Wow.
You are the most surprising part about 100 episodes deep.
Oh, yeah.
Like the fact that me and Sasha could talk about wrestling kind of for 100 weeks, that doesn't surprise me. But the fact that you could sit by and listen to us do it, that is the most surprising aspect of today's show.
Oh, I have not been here for all 100 episodes. that is for damn sure.
Oh, do we have to celebrate Tony's 100th episode in like 4 weeks?
Yeah, it might be a while, yeah.
In 6 weeks, it's our 2-year anniversary, I believe. So,
I hate that because podcasts always. We did this with the 50th episode, and you have a big celebration for 50, and then 2 weeks later you're at 52 weeks, and that's a year. You can't do 2 celebrations back to back. And same thing, if you don't celebrate the 50, you're definitely celebrating the 100, and 4 weeks after the 100, you're celebrating 2 years. The lineup for it
and a leap year. Don't forget the leap year.
Right. I do have an admission to make here, guys.
Uh-oh.
My web camera is working just fine. Woo!
There it is. He's wearing a suit.
He's back.
This is why you pushed me to record this for YouTube, huh?
Absolutely. I and my wife, you can see the balloons in the background that either say 100 or 001, depending on the reflection that you guys have. And
excellent.
Then the balloons that she picked up. She also got me a box of popcorn.
Excellent.
As a celebration of today's episode. I was very, very surprised. This was all surprise. I had no idea that any of this was happening. Obviously, I dressed for the occasion, but I didn't know anything more was happening. So I'm in a great mood today.
I also dressed for the occasion. I put my Impact Wrestling shirt
There
on.
you go.
Only for special occasions. There is some stains on there, but you can't really see it, because it's underneath where it's cut off, right?
I also did not dress for the occasion. Matter of fact, I'm not wearing pants.
Ooh. I'm glad you are on the top part of my screen. You are cut off where Pee-wee is.
We need a separate camera for just Tony's lower half.
If I can ever get my camera to set up, we could totally do that. But
I'm in.
Pee-wee, last week you did it. You hosted the show. The reviews are in. And we even got another new state into the mix because of you.
Whoa.
All of your goddamn tornado-fearing hillbilly friends who live in Oklahoma, They all decided to listen last week.
Country
Oklahoma
music.
becomes the 34th state that has listened to the Bittermarks podcast.
That's fantastic. Chopping
about
wood. We're getting slowly. We're getting to 50, right?
You know, New Mexico, that's the next target. Did I tweet out that map? Did you guys see that?
I
Or
don't
did
think
I just,
so.
I think I just looked at it for a long time this week. I'm going to tweet it out
Analyzed.
this week. It is a
Okay.
map that only New Mexico is missing to connect the states from from California all the way down to Louisiana. And then after that, we got to work on Mississippi, which I'm not even sure if that qualifies as a state anymore.
They don't have internet there. There's
Yeah.
no way we can get listens there.
Maybe we can hand out pamphlets down there or something. We're going to have some surprises on this week's episode. We have some emails, some awesome questions that have come in from our dear listeners. And we're going to tell you guys the story of why over half of our catalog is not on the internet and not reachable. So I think this is going to be a good one. Prepare for that. I really don't know how that's going to go. We haven't even talked about it amongst ourselves.
I knew it was going to happen. I knew that we were going to discuss it, but we haven't discussed like how much of the details we're going into. We haven't discussed. Yeah, we haven't reflected back. That was around episode like 52. All right, fine, we'll get to it. But like, I'm just saying, it was a long time ago, and then me specifically, I don't have a good memory. We'll see how this story goes.
I got a memory and I got screenshots, so we're gonna have a
That'll
good-
help. Okay.
yeah. Let's start talking. We don't like to do this often, but some stuff happened this week in the current modern day wrestling that we need to talk about.
This is how we're celebrating 100 episodes?
This is how we're celebrating 100 episodes, but I want to keep it under 3 minutes, so let's do it a rapid, quick reaction. Producer Tony, you can leave if you want. I don't even know if you know half these people. First things first, Bobby Lashley won the WWE World title on Raw last night, defeating
boy.
The Miz.
Your boy.
Pee-wee, who does he lose to at WrestleMania?
I think it's going right back to Drew.
I think so too.
I think they
so,
took it
too.
off him with for Miz just to transition to Lashley, have a nice month. Honestly, it would have been better in WWE's public eye to have Lashley be the champion during February for Black History Month. That's not a joke. I legitimately think they would have benefited by doing that. So it's weird that they waited till, I believe, the last day in February to put the belt on him.
No, the first day of March.
First day of March, even better.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't think he's holding it long, but I mean, it's great for him. The whole Hurt Business stable, them all holding gold, is fantastic.
Yeah, I love Bobby Lashley. I love that stable. Like it's finally something good. I mean, and they had to get the title off the Miz. Goddamn Miz. We'll get to this again later in my bitter, so I'm not going to keep going about this match. But let's move on to the next thing. Our dear friends over at Pro Wrestling Tees have released another micro brawler this week. Producer Tony, come back in the room. It's a Kevin Nash micro brawler, and he's throwing up the Too Sweet sign.
Big sexy?
Big sexy, and they didn't do the stupid 2-hour block and pay shipping, and you might get this by Christmas.
Yeah, did they release Diesel, then they released the Wolfpack NWO?
I mean, that's still to be determined. They absolutely could do that.
Yeah.
No, but they said only 350 will be made. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that itself is a controversial thing, when you're limiting toys that you don't really have to limit, you're just limiting them so they're collectible. That is a controversial thing to do, but it's at least a lane to stay in. Like, that was their lane. Pro Wrestling Tees was staying in that lane, and then they veered, and people got all in a tizzy, and now they seem to be back in their lane of releasing limited quantity stuff, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I dig it. I dig it a lot.
I also saw, I don't know if you care, but you know how they went from the baggy brawlers to then getting them on the card back?
Yeah.
But then the problem was they would send them off to get autographed by, like, they had an Impact set, and they had 5 guys you can get it signed by Impact. You paid more for the autograph, and when they arrived, the adhesive they used to secure the bubble to the card was not adhering correctly, and they didn't use any padding in the box, so it would rattle around. So when they received it, you'd receive a card separate from the figure, separate from an autographed bubble, and everybody was and they should be all pissed off. Ryan from Pro Wrestling Tees today said that, again, they're going to redo the model, keep the card, but now the front is going to be like a full bubble that just like clips onto the back of the card, so there can be no disconnection of it. I mean, it's cool that they keep they keep readjusting the model, and they're trying to fix the problems. But at the same time, if you go on Twitter or you go on their Facebook pages and you look at Ryan's attitude about all of this stuff, it's not like, I'm sorry, here's what we're doing to fix it. It's more like, fine, we'll do this, but just leave me alone and shut up.
Interesting tweet came out this week that I wanted to share. I want to get your guess here, Pee-wee. And Tony, if you care, you can throw in a guess here too. In 36 years since WrestleMania 1, Dave Meltzer has given the WWE how many five-star matches?
5-star matches. I knew that was going to be the question. So you're asking what's my guess?
Yeah.
5.
Tony, what you got?
3.
6.
Okay.
Damn it!
A lot of those are recent, though, right?
In 36 years since WrestleMania 1, 6 5-star matches. I'm not sure what they are and
when they happened.
I don't really care. Don't even know if this tweet is legit.
Okay.
But I like it. So, in 2 years since AEW has debuted,
oh, I like where this is going.
Dave Meltzer has given AEW blank 5-star matches.
I'm gonna take the over. Tony, you got a guess as to what it is?
7. I'm going to say one more.
It's got to be over. That's smart. Yeah, I'll take. I'll go with the tie. Like, just in 30, they're making a big deal. It was 36 years to get to 6. We're gonna say AEW. It only took 2 years to get to 6.
They're at 5.
Oh, all right. Not a poignant tweet. Wait a couple months and then make the tweet.
I was gonna say, but they have a pay-per-view coming up next week, and I'm
Absolutely.
sure 2 or 3 of those matches will be 5 stars.
Right.
Another interesting fact: Will Ospreay, who works for New Japan Pro Wrestling, he's had in 10 years, he's had more 5-star matches. I don't know exactly the number, but he's had in 10 years more 5-star matches than The Undertaker, HBK, Kurt Angle, Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Edge combined. Combined! All because in Japan, clearly the star system is it's to yen.
It's weighted, yes. That's unbelievable. Will Ospreay is the greatest wrestler of all time?
And then the very last story of today, Wrestling for Women's charity in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's an indie show. It looks like they're doing this charity show for women. And the people on the show include people like Molly Holly, Carlito, Sonny Kiss, Rhino, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Trey Miguel, Brian Cage, Eric Rowan, Gangrel, Too Cold Scorpio, and Joey Ryan, Mr. Me Too himself.
Wow.
For his first show since he was canceled or whatever.
Do you have more details on the show? It goes deeper than this.
No, that's as far as I got. And
my understanding is that this is Joey Ryan's promotion.
Wow.
No way.
More on that in episode 101.
The only thing that I know is that Effie, who is booked for the show, tweeted out something along the lines of, "It's very shady to book somebody under a false name." So Joey Ryan, my understanding is that Joey Ryan was booking people for this charity show, and who knows what this actual charity is, if it's legitimate. But that Joey Ryan was booking it and using a different name to get people signed up. And then if you look at the program, or the poster.
He's in the poster. He's on the poster.
Look at the poster and how small Joey Ryan made his own face. My opinion is that he knows that associating himself with a women's charity, whether the charity is legitimate or not, again, I don't know. But associating him with any wrestling show, whether charity aside, any wrestling show, associating Joey Ryan is not a good idea. But in my mind, it only makes sense that this is Joey Ryan's show. The only way that he gets on that poster is that if he's the one that's making the poster, and it's his ego that's like, well, I'm a big wrestler, I should be on the poster. And he just couldn't get past that. He knew he had to shrink it down and make it tiny, but there's no way, if you're the promoter and you're not Joey Ryan, that one, you don't book Joey Ryan, and then two, you definitely don't put him on the poster.
I bet his face is small, but his weighing is full size.
All right, I will not be part of that wager. I did look to see what company was attached to this charity, but I couldn't find one. It's just at Wrestling for Women on Twitter.
I think that's illegal to claim you're doing something for a charity and to just pocket all the cash.
As of a half hour ago, all the tweets regarding it were deleted.
Yeah, I think something's afoot here.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's move on from modern-day wrestling to some presents, fellas. I gave you guys some random boxes over here.
Oh, we're getting to these. These things are huge. We're getting to these right now?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I may have made a little error here. So we have to see when Pee-wee opens his exactly what's going on. But you guys can open them at the same time.
Okay. I mean, it's going to take some work. These are...
I know, because I did the packages, so you know it's secure.
Oh, we definitely know you did the packages, Sasha.
Look at this. Look at I measured this thing. It's 28 inches by 22 inches by 3 in a... This is not a box. Sasha taped together pieces of cardboard to make this work.
Yeah, and thank you, Producer Tony, for bringing that to wherever you guys live, because otherwise I would have had to drive that out there, and I don't want to do that, so...
So I'm just going to describe Sasha's packaging job here. It's a very large Amazon box that is taped poorly with clear packing tape. And on top of that, there's green masking tape, which offers no structural support whatsoever.
I've opened it and I've gotten a smaller package.
Hold on, I'm not there yet.
Take your time. Also with one strip of bubble wrap. What was this gonna do?
Don't worry about it, bro.
We host a flipping podcast where we talk about shipping things.
All right. Hold on.
Wow, I can see. I haven't looked at mine. I can kind of see what Tony's is. What is that?
This looks like a picture of sorts.
Oh wait, I've got two. How many do you have?
Yeah, that's the clerical error I made. One of those is mine. I accidentally put both of them in the box.
I've got two here. I still haven't looked at it.
Give one to Putski if he wants it.
Do you need one?
No.
Amazing.
It's
This is fantastic.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, this is great. There's no way I could have guessed this. This is very cool.
All right.
Okay.
So
yeah, go ahead and explain what you did here, Sash, because this is fantastic.
Man.
So I had to use my graphic arts skills because I didn't want to bring in the king of art, Justin Tuttle, for this. So I used my own art skills, and I took all 100 episodes, and I put the covers of them onto a 16 by 20 poster. It also has our T-shirts on there. It also has the pictures that we use basically for every artwork, and our logo in the middle. Wow. And you'll notice the 100th episode, we're currently doing it. So I've already created the artwork.
You already have the imagery.
Picture.
Yeah. And the only artwork that was not on there was from our episode 12.5, when I put in like 20 minutes of extra stuff. And
we had extra stories. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the only one that didn't make it on there just because I wanted it to look pretty or whatever.
Can you see this, guys?
And so, yeah, so I made 3 of them, one for each of us, and I accidentally put mine in with Pee-wee's for some reason.
Oh, so I'm definitely giving you this back. You obviously need this.
No, I don't need it because I made 5 total. This is a 1.
Oh, okay.
This is out of 5.
Framed. Do you want? Are you
No,
sure?
because I got the frames for 99 cents at Goodwill, and I have a stack of like 5 or 6 more. So I have enough here.
I don't remember half of these graphics. This is great.
Since you
I
have
think
that,
I mentioned this like months ago, where I was like, "Oh man, your thumbnails are so good. They bring back so much good memories. Like you should keep them for like a coffee table book or something like that." And you done and did it. Here you go. Like this is going on my wall here. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this is absolutely going on the wall, man. This is fantastic.
if Putski wants that other one, you give it to Putski.
Okay, I was gonna say we could use it as like a giveaway or something, but
well, that's the thing. I do have one more additional one.
Okay, I was gonna say we can't promise it. At this point, I have to give it to Putski, given how many times you've told me to give it to Putski. But yeah,
well, if he wants it. If he says he does not want it, then we'll have two to give away.
No, Putski's gonna want this. This is great.
Hey, what's going on, Smooth Babies? Sorry for the interruption, but we were talking about Putski at this point, and as a surprise to producer Tony and to Pee-wee, I asked some of our friends to give some thank yous. Well, little did I know that in this episode, Pee-wee had the same idea. But anyway, I decided to ask Putski, our dear friend, and instead of saying thank you to us, he did it in his own unique Putski-style way. So these came from Putski's phone number, but it's his celebrity friends. Enjoy.
Good morning. For all intents and purposes, I'd like to remain anonymous, but I want to say congratulations for 100 episodes of Bittermarks. I'm a huge fan, and as a Hall of Fame member of a professional wrestling organization, I want to say I hope all three of you are inducted into some sort of wonderful organization. Thank you for 100 episodes. Get to the chopper. Have a wonderful day. To who it may concern, happy 100 episodes of the Bitter Marks. I've never known a mark in anybody to be as bitter as you three are on your podcast. Congratulations. To say congratulations to you, the Bitter Marks podcast. I'm a big fan of your show. I listen to it all the time. I have some time on my hands. I thought I'd listen to it with my wife, Camille. Congratulations on 100 episodes. I was a huge fan. Putting pops, etc. Rah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the picture of it on our Twitter, on our Instagram. And if you're not on Twitter or Instagram and you want to be involved in this contest, just text me and say, I want to be involved in the contest, or email us, or do whatever. Honestly, even if you don't text or email us, I'm still going to put you guys in a hat. And I know who would be, we know who our listeners are or whatever.
I'm still blown away by this. This is fantastic, man.
And then next week we'll pick a winner for the one extra that we have.
I'm also very surprised that one of these clips did not get blurred out in your editing.
Yeah, screw that.
Okay, no, I love it.
Which episode are we talking about here?
I don't think I can say that.
Yeah, let's keep it out of the. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about it later.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Producer Tony, you were working on something for this week, but it didn't pan out, and you told me that you'd talk about it on the podcast. I assume this is not what you were going to do, was create the same poster that I did.
No, that's a great idea. My idea was something more. Only us three would have gotten it. Oh, I guess one other person. So when we first started this podcast, the first time we did it was at WrestleMania. I hosted a WrestleMania party. You guys remember?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we did the podcast like 2 hours before the show started, and we had another family here, a group of friends. And with that group of friends was a 4-year-old boy, I want to say.
Yeah, our first guest.
Yes.
That's right.
So he loves wrestling. His name is Brody. He loves wrestling. He brought all of his action figures. He was ready to have, like a WrestleMania party. And he was very curious what we were doing up here. Like, because he could obviously hear our voices talking. So I actually pulled him in, and we did an interview with Brody for like a couple minutes. And
amazing.
And now he's 28 years old.
I was obviously rolling tape that entire time. And when you actually published the episode, Sasha, there was an issue with the sound recording. Like that part of the recording got fucked up or something, right?
Okay.
So that interview has never been heard by anybody.
I thought that aired. That never made it to air?
No, never did.
It was 2 years ago. It makes sense that I don't remember. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that has never been heard by anybody. So I tried my damnedest to go back. I still have the source files from that first pilot episode.
You tried to clean it up.
I tried my best to clean it up. So what happened in like the software editing software I use, it's called Audacity. I must have combined the two tracks because I think we started and stopped a few times when we did that first episode.
Sure.
I think two different segments got smushed together. So like it's two different segments going at the same time.
Yeah.
And I tried my best. I could not unsmush them. So that interview is in one of those tracks. So I tried my best to get it. I was going to play it here for the Smooth Babies, for us, and for Brody, but it just didn't work, and I've been depressed ever since I figured out that I cannot get it back, ever since.
Aw.
I do remember that. I remember, it's exactly that. It's 2 tracks that are at the same time, probably mixed down to one or whatever, so you can't undo it.
Oh, this is great. Sasha and Tony talking about technical issues. This is just like the good old days. This is great. I've got something that might cheer Tony up. This is something I was working on for a while. This past week on the Flips and Bumps podcast, flipsandbumps.com, I mentioned that I participated in a card break on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast group. I mentioned that it was my first time participating in the card break, and that I was just hoping to get a good spot. I totally lucked out and got the number 1 spot, and I ended up getting a Ric Flair 1 of 3 autographed card that I'm now getting shipped off to PSA.
Get that shit graded.
It's getting graded, yeah. So I invested $44 to be into the break, and I ended up with the Ric Flair card. Couldn't have been happier. I did lie during that story, though. During that story, I said it was my first card break. This is my second card break. The first one was around October, maybe. And this is why I know the rules and how card breaks worked before I enrolled into this most recent one, the Ric Flair one. When I enrolled into that one, I paid the $44. And it was very similar cards, but they were all high-end autograph cards. I think the number 1 thing was there was a Macho Man redemption card. It was the guy still hasn't gotten the card. It's they had to send it off to the company that makes them. He's got to mail it back to him. There was a bunch of very, very high-end. There was a Tully Blanchard autograph. There was a Dusty autograph. There's Japanese guys like Tanahashi autographs, very random stuff. I pulled number 18. At 18, there was still a ton of stuff left on the board that was worth grabbing. But one thing caught my eye. I decided to elect to grab a dual autograph. This is producer Tony's number 1 SmackDown commentator autograph of Funaki, and Sasha's number 1 hated SmackDown commentator of Taz. As soon as I saw this card, I knew I had to pick it up and present it to you guys at the 100th episode. I've literally had this thing on my desk for months, just waiting for today to happen. I was anticipating being able to present it to you in person, but because of the circumstances, obviously I cannot. But consider this one of yours, or shared, or somehow.
Man, I didn't recognize Funaki. He looks a little young in that picture.
They're all. I think the cards are not done by WWE. I think to avoid legality stuff, they have to it's a hand drawing of Funaki and Taz, and and everybody else. Hogan is in this pack. You can get Warriors, you can get Macho, but they're all hand drawings. There's no official WWE photographs that are used for them.
Would you call it a faux Naki? Good night, everybody.
That's good.
Good night. Why don't you cut out the Taz?
Or what are we doing here, Sash?
Cut Taz in half, throw that one in the trash, and then put Funaki on Tony's wall, and we'll both celebrate Funaki together.
How about this? Get a Sharpie and draw a fake mustache on Taz, because you love him so much.
Absolutely.
I actually don't mind Taz nowadays, but that's another story for another
even
episode.
Better. The card fits even more.
Episode 102, we got content. We're already building out the content here.
Before we go on, hold on. Before we go on, I did just get word that we received a message from a rival podcast. Tony, do you have that?
This is Primetime Brad Bishop of the No Strings Impact podcast, and I wanted to congratulate you guys on your 1,000th episode. 1,000 is quite the milestone. Wait, what's that? Oh, 100th episode. Still just as impressive as 1,000, if not more. All right, congratulations, guys, and here's to 100 more.
Tell you what, man, this episode is going to be something. Now, why would I say that? Why would I say that this episode is going to be something? Well, it's simple, because I, too, had asked Bellwood Bishop to create something for me, saying congratulations on 100 episodes, whatever it's going to be. But anyway, this is what I got from Bishop.
This is Paul Bearer, and I want to congratulate you on your 100th episode. Oh, yeah. And when The Undertaker returns, he will make sure that your podcast rests in peace.
Thank you, Primetime.
Thank you, Bishop. That was tremendous, and we are happy that you got out of the submarine to record that for
That
Oh my
sound
God.
quality
Thank God
was
his
fantastic,
microphone
right.
is not on 3,000 out of... Yeah, oh my God. Thank God.
I wanted to mention one more thing about the poster that I got you guys, because I totally forgot about it. I planned this about 10 weeks ago. This idea came to me, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do this because... whatever, like I would like this poster. At least if they don't like it, I'll have it for me. And so I made this poster, and I started making this thing on this past Saturday instead of 8 to 10 weeks ago. And that's why it looks crappy. And also, you guys know I have no skill, which is why
Honestly,
it looks crappy.
when you look closely, yes, the pictures are not aligned with each other, like the bottoms and tops are not in line, but from afar, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, don't worry about the alignment of it. But then I showed it to Megan after I was completely done with it, and I was like, look, I made this for the guys. Will you not divorce me now because of my Photoshop skills? And she was like, no, the divorce is imminent. However, she goes, you should have made the poster horizontal, and then you make a 100 out of all the pictures. And I was like, God damn it, because I had just finished doing the whole thing, and it literally took me like 6 hours on Saturday. Like, that was my whole Saturday.
No, man, I like this a lot more. Also, the poster would have been much bigger to fit 100, or the pictures would have been much smaller. This way, you can see it. I think you went the right route. I was just showing the poster to the camera because I guess we didn't have images for the first 3.
Correct.
So
we didn't know if this was going to work for the first couple of weeks there.
So
the
first
first three
is
is just
It's a screen cap of the iTunes or whatever it is that plays the podcast. It's great.
Oh, are you getting tired of hearing the whooshes? Well, get used to it because there's a ton more coming. Anyway, this part of the podcast I'm going to call the Positivity Hour. And when I think positivity, I go to our dear friend in Seattle, Dawkin Kruger.
100 episodes. That is way too many. Here's some advice from your youngest fan, Kiernan Kowalski.
Well, that wasn't positive at all. That baby told us to shut up and stop doing the show. All right, let's see if I can find somebody else that maybe wants us here. Who's next?
Hello, bittermarks. This is your old friend Giuseppe, popular podcast host of a decade-long running fantasy football podcast, Scoop and Poop. I wanted to reach out to some newcomers on the block and wish you guys a happy 100 episodes. And I know in those 100 episodes, you guys have debuted and ended about 80 different segments. So hoping you've kind of honed that in a little bit now that we've hit those 100 episodes and you can hit your stride. Although you did nail Jerry Lynn in your first 5 episodes and have not booked a single professional talent since. So you guys sure you want to keep going with this?
This is a tough one. It does not look like people are supporting us whatsoever. Okay, one last one before we get back to the show. When I think positivity, I think we're going to hell. Here's the 666 kid to help us get there.
Pee-wee, Sasha, Tony, just want to say thank you for 100 episodes. Here's to 100 more. Looking forward to each and every one. My bitter for this week is that Pee-wee's voice sounds just like Dr. Drew, and you will never be able to unhear that. Thanks. Here's to 100 more.
All right, so let's move on to the mailbag because we got some tweets and emails this week. We're going to start off with our dear friend at CU Comedy sent us a message on Twitter. Check out cucomedy.com because they are running shows again in the middle of Illinois down there. They're selling shirts as well, so obviously check them out, cucomedy.com. Hopefully things can get back to normal this year and they can start working again or
Let's
whatever.
see.
I don't know what
I
they
mean,
do
if you're
down there.
Texas or the other state that did this, it's already done. We're already there.
Now, here's the thing. I looked at our Twitter page today. Today is March 1st, 2nd, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And these questions came in January 15th. So here's the thing. We either answered these questions already and I don't remember it, or Pee-wee, you've done a horrible job of letting me know when we have something on Twitter.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Okay.
I'm blaming you because I didn't look at it. I mean, obviously, I could have looked at it. I do look at Twitter and post on it, but I didn't see this until today. So they actually, we have 3 questions. First one is, Dan, what was the best match you ever reffed? Not the biggest or maybe your favorite, but what you thought was the best wrestling match, and what was the worst?
Okay. I did see this question. I'm not sure that we haven't answered this already. So I'm going to say it real quick. And I've also talked about it before. I really like and it's the guy who asked the question. I wonder if he just thinks that this was going to be my answer and he wanted me to talk about him. But it's literally Tweak versus Derek St. Holmes in where was that? That was Elburn. They worked each other in like a 20-minute match, and they did not touch each other for the first 15 minutes of it. The whole thing revolved around one of them working towards throwing a punch at the other guy and the other guy not wanting to get hit by the punch. They stalled and built it up and built it up. At one point, Tweak got out of the ring and ran over to Steph, who was manning like her own cupcake table and was trying to sell cupcakes to the fans. But they got cupcakes involved in the match. And then finally the big comeback comes and they build up again. And finally they hit that big punch and the room explodes. It was... On a pure theory, I've talked about this before, right?
I've heard this story before, but I don't know if it was in answering of this question.
Okay,
so
gotcha. Well, either way,
I definitely remember the teasing of the punch, though. That's a great spot.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's not. I mean, obviously, it wasn't like catch can 5-star wrestling, but as far as theory goes, fantastic. It's a top to bottom great match.
And your worst?
I don't. I hate this question. I've had a lot of them. It's not because I don't like talking about it. It's just because I've had a lot of them, and I'm so like critical. I'll go with small, weak, unathletic. Arson sucks. The Nashville match. That's just so I could bring back that phrase.
That's hilarious because I also said that phrase earlier today to Megan, who has no clue. She was asking me about those shirts that say like, you know, somebody and somebody and somebody and somebody. And I was like, oh, I wanted to make a small and weak and unathletic and arson shirt. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's
like,
a great idea.
Yeah.
I just got, I'm going to take a break from emails for a quick second. Tony, get ready. We just got a special message from a member of the Bittermarks family, and more specifically, a member of my personal family. Tony, pull that up for me.
Hey guys, it's Stephanie. Congratulations on 100 episodes. Triple digits. I think my favorite episode was the one with the bitter wives, but then again, it's the only one I listened to. Anyway, congratulations, and here's to another 100.
I don't like, that's back-to-back I mean, first of all, thank you, honey. Secondly, I don't like all these people encouraging us to do another 100 episodes.
There we go, some positivity. Do we have any more positive remarks? Let's find out.
What's up, smooth babies? It's your dear friend Goff here. Guys, I just want to congratulate you on 100 episodes. That is amazing, especially for a podcast where you guys kind of in the beginning were like, what the hell, we're just doing this for fun. Who gives a shit if it goes anywhere? Almost 2 years later, you guys haven't missed a week. Well, most of you haven't missed a week. And I just want to thank you guys for all the shout outs, everything. Tony, your impressions, they're great, especially your Vince McMahon impressions. The story you told with Vince McMahon when he was hammered on the airplane and he was trying to wrestle Kurt Angle, I was literally laughing out loud at that one. Just your drunk Vince, and I'm gonna jump on, and then I'm gonna get him. That, oh my God, so funny. And, fuck Steve Blackman, right? Pee-wee, I love the way you tell stories, man. Like the one with the wrestling match at the school, That was just so good. And I love how, I don't know if you did it on purpose. If so, it was brilliant how you kept doing it weekly and leaving the cliffhangers. That was driving me nuts, actually, as I started getting closer to the end, because for the first few episodes, I started, Sasha told me about the show. You guys were already like 40 in. So I was able to just listen to those consistently, and hearing the stories about that wrestling match were great. You also did a great job as host last week, just so you know. And FDT, Sasha, just your the constant work you put into the show week in and week out. The segments are great. They're original. The sound drops you do, the Dead or Alive, and even, oh, you didn't know? You guys got to bring that back, by the way. We haven't done it in a while. I love how you turned your flipping segment into a new podcast, which I do listen to and I do love. So just thank you guys for keeping us entertained week in and week out. Can't wait to hear episode number 200. Take care. Listen to Citizens of Pawnee podcast.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Positivity. We got to have one more positive one, right? Who we got next?
Hi, what's up, Moist Makers? I'm SWK, and when I'm not scouring homosexual bathhouses looking for used Shawn Michaels condoms to sell on eBay, probably to Sasha, Tony, and Pee-wee, I'm listening to the Bittermarks podcast. That's right, the Bittermarks podcast. The only thing more boring than a match between me and Enrico Suave.
God damn it, Swick. What are the odds that we make it another 100? Seriously.
That you and I make it another 100? I mean, I would guaranteed. But Tony, the over-under on, it's like 12 more episodes.
I
I gotta check my contract. I don't know how many I've signed up for. How many I'm obligated to fulfill here.
All right, let's go back to the questions here. At CU Comedy also had a question for me. They asked, if you made your illustrious return / second retirement match, who would you want to wrestle?
Oh.
Good question.
CM Punk.
Clearly, yeah. UFC style. No, honestly, the second match that came to my mind was me.
Don't say Tweak.
Me and a returning Kurt returns to the business to take on returning to the business Tweak and Damien.
Oh, man.
With returning to the business Pee-wee as the ref.
Oh, there you go.
And returning to the business Putski doing commentary with Scott Hudson, the nicest man I've ever met.
With a wrench.
Hell yeah.
But my legitimate first thought was Sabu. Like, I think it would be awesome
really?
to say that I could have wrestled Sabu. And, like, if you're alive afterwards, like, how awesome would that be?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, the lights would go off, and, like, the lights come back on, and Sasha just got his pants off. He's just like, yep, that's it. That's all I needed. That's it.
You booked it. Let's do it. Tony, they didn't leave you out of this. Steve Blackman runs Steve Blackman Fighting Systems, based in Pennsylvania, which includes self-defense and MMA classes. If we all pitched in and paid for it, would you sign up so you can once and for all take care of the world's Steve Blackman problem? It wouldn't cost much, as it's listed on Groupon.
I've got a lot of card money right now.
Yeah,
this could definitely happen.
If the Smooth Babies want to send me to a Steve Blackman school, I will kick his ass in his own school and end the world suffering of the Steve Blackman disease.
Like us on Facebook. We also got some emails from our dear friend Hattori Hanzo. He chimed in with 3 or 4 emails this week, but they were all pretty quick. First one was, how many Mickey Doyles from Michigan can there be? And he sent us a link to Amazon with a book called Everybody Loves Mickey, The Life and Times of Irish Mickey Doyle. I ordered this book. It was $7.
Oh,
It will be here on Thursday, and as long as he talks about the grabber in Iron Mountain, I will confirm that this is the
Do you know
Mickey Doyle.
I'm assuming you don't have the information on the book in front of you. It's got to be the same Mickey Doyle, right?
It said guy from the 70s, friends with Sabu. This all lines up. Like,
did it say what? Did you look, or do you have the information in front of you as far as what year the book was published?
I believe 2020. I think it just came
Whoa,
out.
we got a shot. We got a shot.
Still alive.
Oh, I will say this, Mickey Doyle, if you're listening, get ready for a lot of sales if that one grabber is included in the story, because we're going to be talking about it nonstop.
Well, it was the only copy available on Amazon.
A book from 2020.
I will, after I read it, I will send it to people.
We'll just
anyone
pass
who
it
wants to
along.
read
We'll
it.
have a library. I'm down.
And we'll each pay each other $7, and it will be fantastic.
Before you get to his second email, Tony, do you have another message we can play?
Hey guys, congratulations on 100 episodes. Here's 100 more and keeping Tony busy for an hour so I have the TV to myself.
100 more. Another person out there wants 100 more.
Didn't recognize Jen at first.
You
It's like, is this Stephanie McMahon? Who is this? What
you didn't
voice
hear the
is this?
joy in her voice that I leave her alone for an hour every week?
If you listen close enough, you can hear your arm squeezing her tightly so she delivers those lines.
Say it.
You know we weren't going to end this without talking to the king of art, Justin Tuttle.
Hey guys, Justin here. I just wanted to wish you a congratulations on the big day. You know, I can remember, almost 2 years ago now, when you first started telling people that you were going to start a podcast based loosely on wrestling, and everyone that you told back then was like, why? Ugh. We never really got an answer. You just started cranking them out, you know. But now look at you. Good Lord, 100 episodes. And you finally got someone from Utah to listen. That truly a big day. You know, so great work, and good luck on, I don't know, making it to 200 episodes, I guess. Because at this point, why the hell not? With the flipping podcast, you can at least make money. But wrestling? What are you doing?
And the king of fart jokes, Jesse Tuttle. That's improv classes right there.
Hey guys, congratulations on 100 episodes. I've listened to every single one so far, so 99 times I've been a smooth baby, which means you all should really be congratulating me. Out of all the years you were in indie wrestling, I'm the only guy you did shows with that you've had on. No Matt Longtime, no Casey James. You haven't even had someone like the Wisconsin Chicken. I'm the only one, which is sad. Probably for you and for me. Out of all the years we did indie wrestling, Dan's wife, Steph, is more over on social media with wrestling fans than all of us. So we did it, guys. This was the goal. We made it. I'll check back in on episode 199. I'm sure you'll get there. That's it.
Hanzo also sent us something from his hockey forums. There's apparently a couple guys in his hockey forums. One of them who has an avatar of Aldo Montoya, and the other one has an avatar of the Dynamite Kid.
Wow.
And also a screenshot of a message from one of the guys on the hockey board. The guy's name is Metalhead Penguins Fan, who wrote the following. I've been rewatching a bunch of matches of The Godfather, Too Cool, Big Boss Man, Gangrel, and the Lethal Weapon Steve Blackman lately. Fun stuff. Blackman was such a beast.
Motherfucker.
By the way, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about Steve Blackman, please stay tuned for the next 5 to 6 episodes of this podcast, as I have some fun stuff planned. Tony, what's with your contract again?
Hopefully it's a 5 to 6 part conversation interview with Steve Blackman. Let's make that happen.
I'm gonna get my lawyers on the line, and we're gonna find our way out of this contract immediately.
This is the most litigious podcast of all time. And then the last email that Hattori Hanzo sent us said, congratulations on 100 bitter episodes. Here's a picture of Shawn Michaels. And it's a picture of Shawn Michaels nude with a championship belt covering his crotch. This is a poster that I have hanging in my room behind me. Not really, but I think it's like a Playboy picture. Or
yeah, it's that
when
classic, the belt over Shawn's naked body covering his junk. I think Hattori Hanzo sent this as like a dig at us, like, hey, you like Shawn Michaels so much, take a look at this. I'm like, bring it on. Give me some more of this.
He looks great.
This is gold. Look at those abs. Yeah, look at that
Sasha,
hair.
get us a poster of that next time.
Dude, once my printer starts working this episode, I'm going to print these up for everybody. We also got 2 emails from YouTube. Last week, when we posted our 99th episode, on YouTube. The first thing that we've posted on YouTube in a long time, because we just seem to keep getting in trouble on YouTube. We immediately got 2 emails that said, for some reason, our video will not be shown in the following countries: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal. Nepal Death is my favorite metal band. Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. What the hell are we doing that other people aren't doing on YouTube? Like, why can't we successfully post something without getting reprimanded?
Honestly, I think it was because of the use of the other YouTube clips from the game that we played last week.
What about America? Like, WWE is in America. Wouldn't they not want us looking at that?
I don't know how it works. I have no idea. I don't know. How about that game last week? That game last week was pretty sweet. No? All right.
No, it was good. We're going to play that again in the future. I'm glad that you got the camera situation fixed on your computer, because we're going to be playing that a lot. I think that's a quality game. And obviously, we need the content. Next email, our dear friend Giuseppe in Hollywood chimes in. He says, first of all, I want to give credit to Pee-wee for an outstanding job hosting last week.
Hey.
The game, speaking of which, seemed to be a lot of fun and, more importantly, consumed about 27% of the total podcast runtime.
Wait a minute, seemed to be a lot of fun. That implies that we played the game for our own enjoyment. And like it was just like they had to suffer through it, and they watched us play a game or listened to us play a game. That game was for everyone's enjoyment.
He's probably upset that we made him play Dead or Alive and not the fun game.
Okay.
Question for all 3 of you. If you could choose one person to interview for this podcast, who would it be? It could be a person who's still with us or who has passed on. Take care. Your friend Giuseppe. Giuseppe, my answer... this is a good question. Like, I had to think about it a little bit. But honestly, around like 50 episodes, we as a group started talking about possibly doing interviews with more people. Whether it was like, like guys who we approve, like Matthew Justice and Shane Mercer, trying to get them on, and not for like a wrestling interview where we're like, where'd you get started and that kind of stuff, but just to like have them on and like play Dead or Alive or just like mess around.
Yeah.
Whatever. We also talked about guys like, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Riley Saloner, aka the Art Make Kid, Sean from Michaels.
I didn't know we talked about that.
Yeah.
I would love to have
that
happen.
guy.
Yeah, and like all these different people who like they can talk wrestling with us, but we're not really here to talk wrestling. That's what this show is about. Like we don't really care what's going on too much or whatever.
Sure.
And so I was thinking of all the names that I had because I had a long list of people I was going to start doing that, and of course I put that to the side while we can tell our stories and stuff. Well, now we're out of stories, so that might be something that we head to here in the next however many episodes. But then I was like, yeah, there's one person who has passed on who I would really like to have on, and it's basically for the people who are on this podcast who know me anyway, but it's my Uncle Steve who passed away, who got me into wrestling.
Oh, good call. Okay.
Just because A, person got you into wrestling, B, he passed away in 2000, I think it was 2000, and like, I would love to know what he thinks of current wrestling, if he would still watch wrestling. I would love to know if he would have watched ECW, whatever. Like, having him on would have been cool, and I think people would have enjoyed having him on. And he could have talked about, like, getting arrested for trying to fight Bobby Heenan or whatever. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there, so I think that would be the one that means more to me than if I actually named a wrestler.
Yeah.
What about you, Tony? What do you got?
He would have loved Otis, your uncle. Yeah, he would have loved Otis.
Hell yeah.
It's a hard question. I'm just thinking of more personalities, right? Now, I'm not looking for wrestling wisdom or anything like that. I'm looking for strictly a personality. And I keep going back to this one guy. I remember way back in the day, he was on the Arsenio Hall show, and Arsenio just loved having him there. It was a great interview. It was high energy. And of course, I'm talking about the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Can you imagine the energy that he would drink several cans of whatever you guys drink every week?
See, I disagree. I think because he is older, he would just have to have a cup of coffee. See what I did there?
I like that.
No more cocaine. No more cocaine.
No, he's done with the cocaine. But anyway, yeah, I think that would be a fantastic interview, and just be cool to hang out with fucking Macho Man. I'm down with that.
There you go.
The best thing to come out of Downers Grove. Pee-wee, what do you got?
I think you had it right by going. My instinct told me that you had it right by going with your Uncle Steve. I feel like he'd be like a fun guest. It's a personal guest, and people would want to hear him. My instinct then says I should get my father on this show. Like on paper, getting Don Kelly on this show we just print money. But I also think the execution of that would be terrible. It would not be entertaining. It would end up a dumpster fire, and it'd be our new worst episode, just behind the Bitter Wives episode.
It would be about 5 minutes.
I have seen his laptop, and there's no way that can handle a Skype call. I mean, we talked about Sasha's internet before, but that thing, man, oh boy.
All right, so then I started thinking, okay, let's go mainstream. Who would I want? I'd want the guy that nobody can get. Give me Vince McMahon. I want Vince. I don't even want to Skype with him. I want to risk COVID. I want Vince sitting next to me. We're sharing a microphone, and we're gonna play Dead or Alive.
That's a great call. Did not cross my mind at all. But
be a good get.
Hell yeah.
I just want to have dinner with Vince, yeah.
Somehow he's like, yeah, I'll do that show.
All right, are you ready for another one? We've heard from my wife. We've heard from Tony's wife. Sasha, I'm assuming you can guess who this next message is from.
Please, anybody but my dog? Is it my dog?
Play it.
To Sasha, Pee-wee, and Tony of the Bitter Marks podcast, this is John Cena with a question. What exactly is a bitter mark? Is it paint made of Sour Patch Kids? Is it a marker, the ink from a marker that is possibly squeezed with citrus or lime of some sort?
What is
questions that I'm just unsure of. But either way, you've got 100 episodes. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, John.
What?
How about that?
What just happened?
That's our friend John just giving us a good congratulations on 100 episodes.
Oh, I get it. Because he followed me. You were able to reach out.
No, he reached out to me. He said, hey, do me a favor.
Big fan.
Big fan. I just want, can you please include me on your podcast? Give me that Bitter Marks rub.
That was legitimately John Cena and not Putski.
That was 100%. Honest, I thought about that you guys would accuse me of getting some impersonator to do this. If I did pay for an impersonator, how pissed would I be that that's the promo or that's the clip that he sends?
That was good. I enjoyed it.
The comedic timing of John Cena is undeniable. I knew it was the real guy the whole time.
Oh, absolutely. No, it was 100% him.
I still don't believe you because earlier in this episode you were like, yeah, remember that story that I told you? I lied. Like, we do that all the time.
That's
so
true.
I think in 20 episodes you're going to be like, John Cena was actually a tweak with like holding his lips together or something.
No, nobody could do a John Cena impression that good. I swear on my kid's
life,
was
incredible.
That's legitimately John Cena.
Is that a cameo purchase?
And it's also not a cameo.
Really?
I've got the video. It's untimed.
We need to hear this story.
Yeah, I'll tell it at some point.
200.
And another episode, 103. We're going to get the John Cena cameo story.
Yeah.
I love that producer Tony is setting up the next 3 episodes already. And this podcast isn't over yet. But now it's time for the main event of this podcast. We're going to get to the situation that we had that is the reason why people go, what happened to the first half of your guys' episodes? Where are these? Why can't I get these? I get these messages every day. Every single day.
Same here. So I can't even answer my phone sometimes. I'm getting so many tweets and texts about it. Yeah,
and it's usually Tony. It's just Tony's. Can you at least email them to me?
We still need to say we need to stay semi-vague about this. So
we're not going to use a name.
We're not going to use names. We can't give you specific dates or episodes when whatever happened, right?
Correct. And we're going to be careful with what we're saying. It probably doesn't matter, but we are trying to not stoke a fire here. We are trying to
and trying to abide by everyone's wishes. Yeah, it's absolutely.
That being said, I mean, it's a good story to say on our 100th episode, but we are saying it, with respect, and
it was something very interesting that happened, and we'd be we should be. I don't know if we should be sharing it, but we think it's interesting enough that people will want to hear about it.
I'll never forget when this shook down, and I'll throw my thoughts in as they come up here.
This was almost we were 80% close to being done with the Bittermarks podcast when this happened.
True? Yeah, why don't we start it off here?
You mean after it happened? I thought you meant before.
Oh no, yes, after it happened. Yes, after the day that everything went down, some of us were on the fence as far as what do we do going forward. Go ahead. You want to start it off?
Yeah, and honestly, if you want to know more about this story, just ask me next time I see you in person. That goes to anybody who's listening to this, and we'll go from there. I do want to say that, like, we don't think that we said anything wrong. We wouldn't do anything over, but it did kind of bring up a different feeling in, like, how we wanted the show to go, and we had to think back at the stuff that we had already said, which we don't take back anything that we've said on this show. I don't, Pee-wee,
at all, including the incident that we're talking about.
Yeah,
today.
There's nothing that is that we regret saying. It's just that we don't want to be, I guess, put in a situation to deal with things.
Yeah, we honestly, a lot of times we get carried away on this podcast, and we are, at least Sasha and I, are very impulsive. I specifically am very impulsive in what I will say. I don't think about what I say before I say it. And sometimes stuff just slips out of my mouth. Sometimes it's good. A lot of times it's bad. And I didn't really put a lot of thought behind what I was saying before this incident happened. This incident really opened my eyes and made me realize that, yes, while I haven't said anything prior to this that I regret or would take back or think should be edited out, that it definitely could have gone that way, and I definitely could have slipped even further, and that I do need to start watching what I've been saying. And so going forward after this whole thing, I did start watching what was coming out of my mouth. But even then, it's been, I think, for 100 episodes, I think we're fine to release everything as is. We just want to be sure of that.
Yeah, and, some people in this day and age are just looking to, whether it's start a fight or get attention or be litigious. And we're not saying that this person is, but people that we may have talked about it in the past may be. And we just don't want to deal with that. Like, just having to deal with it. Not saying what we're saying is wrong. Just
not saying that we'd be found guilty or would be charged with anything. But the fact that we'd have to go through the process of proving our innocence and that we didn't do anything wrong, that's more of a hassle than we want to sign up for.
And technically, we sign up for it by doing a podcast. Like, we are openly giving this out. Granted, we get 50 people who listen to this a week. It's not blowing minds. But it is.
But 1 week we got 51.
Yeah, and it's, if we wanted, we could just email this directly to people instead of putting it out there. But we're putting it out there, and so we have to deal with stuff when it happens. So we put out this episode, cleverly titled, might I add.
Great thumbnail as well.
We put out this on a Friday like we normally do, or late Thursday, whatever it was, and by Sunday. I woke up on that Sunday morning to a message from Pee-wee that said, "Hey, check your Twitter DMs."
Check Twitter, that's what it was. Yeah.
And so I did that, and it was kind of interesting. I got a message that basically said, it would be a good idea to check your DMs or whatever the message said. It was something like that.
Was this your personal account or the Bittermarks account?
My personal account.
Wow. Okay. See, again, my memory's terrible. I remember the broad strokes of the day, but I don't remember as far as like what accounts got what messages.
Yeah, he had a
so
run.
You got
a
message
on our
from this
accounts.
person on your personal account.
Yeah, he had a run at our personals.
They messaged both the Bittermarks account and my account, my personal account.
Okay.
And so whatever, I looked at it, and you were already dealing with it by the time that I had woken up.
Yeah. So I had already seen it. I'd already seen the direct messages. It was essentially a multiple direct messages via Twitter. I don't know how much detail I can go into here. Basically, they were upset about the content that we talked about on that previous Friday's episode.
Two specific things that they were upset about. One was a story about the person in general.
About that person that was messaging us, that's correct. And the other was just a random opinion that we had. How would you describe it? Not an opinion.
It wasn't even an opinion. It was something
was said and something was laughed at. That's all that happened, right?
A giggle. Two
The
giggles.
thing that was said had nothing to do with the guy that was messaging
But
us. It was just he didn't like what was said, and that a laugh followed after what
and
was
it was
said.
a personal friend of his that was involved.
Okay, I guess. I don't even know if that's true, but okay.
I believe that's true. But of course... Oh, by the way, this whole thing is the cause of the bumper before our show that says we don't know what we're talking about. We assumed that people listened to us and realized that we don't know what we're talking about. But now we had to make it official after this thing had happened.
Yeah, so you guys are going through this, and I wake up like hours after you guys do on that Sunday, and I my phone is blasted with text messages from both of you guys saying like, call me when you wake up, or like something like that. So I called you guys, and you guys were flipping the fuck out. 100%. You guys were of the mind where like, okay, we should probably stop doing this podcast, all that kind of stuff. This guy is gonna sue us, yada yada yada.
And so here's why. So like he brought something up to us. Okay, the thing that wasn't about him, we'll go past that. That was
we don't care. That we had no worry about.
Yeah.
The thing that he was angry that somebody laughed about, who cares? It was the other thing that was the main issue in our eyes. But
and so he wanted to know where we got that information from, which you were the one talking to him. You were dealing with him or her.
So yeah, that's an interesting aspect. As far as, do you want me to talk about like how in depth I was talking to this guy?
In a second.
Okay, go ahead. I don't know what
No, it's all good. So you were talking to him via our Twitter page at this time, and you were like, hey, you said this to me, because I was the one who was saying the things, because I'm the one who talks mostly on this podcast, and I was telling the story, and he didn't agree with some things in the story. And so I was like, oh, immediately, and I sent you the pictures of all, because I take screenshots of the websites where I get stories from. So I sent that to you immediately, being like, here's my sources. And then you continued to talk to him. You want to take it from where you're...
Yeah, and that's really where my mistake happened. I should have just said, here's our sources. If you want to take it further, contact our, have your legal guys to contact us. I didn't. I was too busy freaking out. I was up in my own head.
Also, at this point, he was not, like, angry. You could tell he was angry in, like... Or we assumed he was angry in how he was writing some certain things. But he was, like, presenting things very lawyer-like,
as best he could, with very little like background experience or training in lawyer speak. That's what he was trying to do.
According to bird law.
But he did say stuff like, please be brazen enough to tell me your name from the safety of your keypad.
Yeah, that's...
You know what I mean? Like, it's not aggressive, but it's also not aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's.
You could tell that he's
odd,
upset, or maybe upset's not the right word. Once again, we have to be careful with everything we say. So, whatever. Pee-wee was talking to him via Twitter, and then what happened?
Did I ask, or did he ask if we could talk via the phone? Do you know? Did you look at the messages?
I'm not quite sure which way it happened, but I do know. I believe that you told him to call you.
Okay, and that makes sense. To me, it was just I was too much up in my own head.
But then you didn't
when
answer.
I get in that, that's true. He couldn't. He was trying to call my house phone, and it wouldn't go through. I didn't want to give him my cell phone because I didn't want this guy in this mindset to have my personal number. If he had my house phone, I don't care. So I get too up in my own head, and I'm like, okay, I can't just type this out and wait for a response, and then get a response, and then type out my response immediately, then wait another 5 minutes. I can't do that. That's going to drive me nuts all day. I just need to get this done with. All right, bro, can I call you? Can you call me? Can we do something? And then even without like saying yes or no, he's like, well, I mean, I can't agree to have you record me if you're going to call me, or if I'm going to call you. I'm like, dude, that's not what I'm talking about. Yes, you will not be recorded. Don't worry about it. It's illegal for me to record you in my state if you ask me not to record you. So don't worry about it. I'm not going to record you. We went back and forth. Eventually, he agreed to a phone call. And then we tried to get a hold of each other. He couldn't. I gave him my Google number. That's what I did, because that I can always get rid of. And then eventually he couldn't get through to that, and then I had to give him my personal number. That's when we talked, and
it went in circles, back and forth, back and forth.
It was very difficult to talk to him,
and nothing came out of it. But he wanted to talk to me and Tony at that time. And so I was like, sure, tell him to message me. Or maybe I just messaged him right there on Twitter, like, hey, this is Sasha. What's going on? I know what's going on, but, like, let's talk or whatever. Tony was like, I'm not talking to this bozo.
Hell
It's
no.
Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely
like, leave me alone.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I started talking to him, and the story that we told, he didn't agree with the story that was told, and then he didn't agree with, like, how we speculated on the story afterwards. So, like, something happened, and I said something like, oh, he probably blank. And that was incorrect in his view. He did not blank whatever it was that I said. And so he was like, yeah, you're speculating, and speculating is bullshit, is basically what he said. Not basically, that's what he said. Speculation is bullshit. So I was like, well, I apologize, because I'm the one who did say this stuff. And then on the other part, it was me and Tony he was mad at. None of this he was mad at Pee-wee for. Pee-wee was just taking control of it.
That phone call that I had with him, it was 2 hours of me going back and forth with him, like, kind of like, not half-ass apologizing. I was apologizing, but I was very, like, strict on what I was apologizing for. I'm not apologizing for hurting your feelings. I am sorry if we didn't cite our sources correctly. I'm not sorry for reading the sources that we read. I was very, like, stringent on this, and then I kept going back to, do you want to pursue legal action? Because I was praying. I knew he wasn't going to. And I should say I assumed he wasn't going to. And as soon as if he would have said the word yes, that's what I'm planning on doing. Then I would have washed my hands with it and said, okay, have your lawyer contact us and we'll go from there. I can't talk to you anymore. Sadly, it took 2 hours to get to that point, and I never even got there. It was just a matter of, I don't even know how we ended.
And the thing is, you ended it by saying, like, I'm going to talk to him. I'm pretty sure. And so I was talking to him.
Oh, that's how I got out of it. Okay, he wanted to talk to one of you.
And so I was talking to him via Twitter, and we were going back and forth, and he was telling me, you shouldn't speculate and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, after we gave him the information of where we got this stuff, I went and I checked the source. And the source, it's also on his Wikipedia page, which obviously we know isn't the truth and whatever. But
Sure.
Wikipedia
But it's out
also
there.
has a source. And that source was the same source. And I went to that source, his website, and it was an interview with this guy. So I'm like, all right, well, whether it's true or not doesn't matter. Like, that's
What's
good
up,
enough.
bozos?
What was that?
Glitch in the Matrix.
Oh,
Don't worry
okay.
about it.
Thank God. After that happened, I was like, that totally threw me off. I don't know where I am now.
Just play it. Play it. We'll come back to it. We got one more message.
What's up, bozos? Congrats on 100 episodes. I think I heard one. Impressive? Okay, bye. Peace out, players.
Thank you, Megan.
It's my wife. Excellent. So anyway,
Producer Tony here, man in the mixing
Just
board,
mashing buttons on his keyboard over there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tony's sick of this story and our lack of details. So at this point in the podcast, I'm like, they got my wife to do a goddamn sound clip. I asked my wife to do a goddamn sound clip. She gave me 2. This is what she gave me.
What's up, bozos? Congrats on 100 episodes of Tool Time.
And that was it. Nothing after that. She just played the entire theme of Home Improvement, which I didn't play because we've recently played that on this podcast. And then she sent another one.
What's up, bozos? I'm not really sure what you guys do, but you did it 100 times. Good job. Peace out, players.
I help you? I'm putting all of them in. That's your car. And yes, she did literally just walk in the room while I was playing that into a microphone to record it for this episode. That's my life. Back to the show. So anyway, the interview came from that person, and anyway, that to me is enough to say, like, all right, that's where my source was. If you're mad, go be mad at them. I understand why he was mad at both things. If he doesn't agree with how we were saying something, whatever. But there was nothing here. There was no, like, reason to go on. I offered an apology. I said, I didn't mean to offend you. We're talking about something that happened. I mean, this guy's a public figure. It's not somebody who's, like, hidden away and we're giving away details.
We didn't out anybody. Yeah. It's not that we gave any information that wasn't already out there. It was to us, it was a total moot point. But at the same time, when you're being bombarded with this guy is passively aggressively messaging us and then talking to him on the phone and then wants to go round and round in that conversation, there was 15 minutes where it was like, I could benefit your podcast if you let me come on for 15 minutes every week. The conversation was all over the place. And then he'd also throw the legal jargon at us. So it's just, we're getting bombarded from every side possible. We just want to be done with it. And it was just super, super overwhelming. And because of all that, we had to really look back at what we were, in my opinion, we weren't so much afraid of what we said about this guy. But there was stories that, specifically me, that I've told in the past that may not have shown people in the greatest light, that were all 100% true stories, but because of the light that I shed on them during these stories, that we might be in some trouble if those stories got out there and were heard by some of these people who could be even more litigious than this guy that was contacting us today. So because of that, that was why we eventually decided to not stop the podcast, but at least temporarily, in quotation marks, remove episode 1 through whatever we removed.
Yeah, and something that he said in his Twitter DMs to me, at one point he used the term laughing at misfortune. I honestly think that was probably the biggest part of it, was that we were, not necessarily laughing. Like, he makes it sound like it's out loud laughing. It, like a chuckle that came after something stupid that was said. And also there was misfortune, in his story and the other thing as well. So, like, I think he didn't like that. I
don't know which one you were talking about. The other one, it's I don't care if you don't like that we laughed at something that was said, that really happened. That is a very public event that we laughed at. If we spent 5 minutes laughing about it. Yes, it's in terrible taste. Yes, it should not have happened, but we don't care. There's no legality there. That's a matter of opinion. If you don't like it, then just don't listen to the podcast. The other stuff, the factual stuff that he was claiming that we got wrong, and that was the stuff that was concerning to us. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. And also, I apologized to him. I said I didn't mean to offend, which was the wrong thing to say, because at that point he was visibly more upset, at least as visible as you can be on Twitter. He was like, offense is bullshit. Defamation is not. He was talking about defamation and libel. Like Pee Wee said, he was throwing around. He was sending us like memes of like law terms and pictures of like the law dictionary online of like sentences in Latin that we should know.
Yeah, here's the definition of liable. Yeah. There was a lot of that.
And so after he had said something, what was the one thing he said? He said, "You three got good lawyers?" ?
Yes.
And at that point, I think I sent that to Pee Wee, and you were like,
"That's all I needed."
Cease communication with him, and so that was it. I blocked him. I changed my name on my on my social medias because I'm like, dude, I don't want this guy knowing what my name is. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to go further into it, but if you want to have a discussion with me about this off air, I will talk about it anytime. But once he said that, Pee Wee was like, that's it, we're done. And then he tried contacting our Bittermarks Twitter page after that, to which, Pee Wee, you did respond to him. Once you threaten
same thing, right?
Whatever, we are, whatever, tell your lawyers to contact us.
Then he also emailed us at bittermarks@gmail.com.
Nice plug.
And yeah, and whatever. I don't even remember what he said, but it's still in our inbox if we want to go take a look at it. But that was pretty much it. Is there anything else we need to say on this story? We blocked him. That was the end of that.
He did somehow figure out Tony's Twitter handle as well, right?
Let me chime in here for a little bit. He said
Tony's still in communication with him.
Oh no, he's got another clip he's gonna play right now.
So he did add me and try to send me a message on the Twitter, like a DM, I think. And you guys have already been going back and forth with him for a couple days, I think, or a day or two or whatever.
Okay, wow.
And I never interacted with him, and I eventually blocked him. When you guys brought this stuff to my attention, I kind of had a more hard-ass approach. I wouldn't have even bothered with the phone call, Pee-wee. I knew that we never said anything that would have got us in trouble legally. Okay? Sure, we might have said something stupid. Sure. Probably happens every episode, right? But we're not damaging anybody's character. We're not making assumptions about people that we are presenting as fact. And there's another thing that I was this is the biggest reason why I was not afraid of any legal action. Why would he sue us? It's because of what? Money. Where's the money in the Bittermarks podcast? I mean, we got the smooth babies, but we're not making any money here. There's nothing to get. Like, there's no money to get from us for us slandering or whatever he was saying. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. And I will say I do disagree with what you're saying, and we had this whole conversation when it went down. I obviously see what you're saying. I obviously agree for the most part in what you're saying. Because I'm so uncertain on where the law is and where that line is, I was trying to play it safe, and still am.
And I was okay with that.
And I think that's where the compromise came in, as far as
absolutely.
deleting the previous episodes. It's not like, I mean, we didn't get into fights over this. It was just
No,
a matter
not
of
at all.
trying to figure out what the best route of action was to take.
Sure, like, how are we going to go forward, right? So we had our little powwow that day, and we agreed to take down stuff previous to that and try to pay more attention to what we say going forward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do.
That was the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's when the bumper came in. I remember making that. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate that that's how our show starts, and I hate the fact that like we think that that's how we have to start it. But also, none of us want to even take the steps to see what legal action we really have.
No.
Or what we can do to protect ourselves when we are talking about stuff. Because I disagree that we aren't. I think that we aren't as protected as we believe that we are. I don't think that anything would come of it, but I don't want to
go through the hassle of figuring that out.
Or take the 1% risk of something that happens. I mean, what are we going to get BDI's lawyer uncle to help us out here? Like, we don't know what we're doing. This is, by the way, a guy whose career, professional wrestling-wise, like, awesome. I love this guy. Huge fan. And so it sucked when this happened. It was like, no, if only you can understand. And there's no understanding. And I look at it from his point of view, and I understand his point of view, especially with the thing that's not dealing with him. Like we can't go into saying what it is, but if the roles were reversed, I would probably have a similar reaction to, other people.
One of the ongoing things with talking to this guy is that there's 100% no empathy at all from this guy on his side. He could not understand that we're doing a podcast. Somebody said something, and it wasn't like a wholehearted making fun of the incident that happened laugh. It was a chuckle to move on to the next segment. It had nothing to do. There was no understanding that. There was no empathy, and that's what I couldn't handle. There's no gray area with this guy. It was all black and white, and it was impossible to talk to him.
And so that's it. Like, I mean, after we blocked him, he was like, "So, how do I get on the podcast?" Like he sent messages afterwards.
Episode 104, baby! Here we go!
And I do think it's important for us to say we have a lot of friends out there who listen to this, and I mean, whether you know who this person is, whether you have figured out who this person is.
Ivica, don't do anything stupid.
I'm not even worried about Ivica.
I'm 100% worried about Ivica.
Just like nobody, please don't look into it. We just wanted you guys to know what happened and why it was so weird and things changed all of a sudden. But the best way to deal with this is to not come in contact with this person at all.
Please.
And by the way, I have the same like political beliefs as this person. He's trying to like do things in the wrestling business to clean it up. There are positives.
Yep, I'm with you.
There are positives to this guy.
Of course there are. There's positives to everybody. Absolutely. Just the interaction we had with him was extremely negative. Yeah.
Yeah, and his name has come up on this podcast since then.
Yeah. Not about the incident, just in random other wrestling stories that we believe are 100% accurate.
Yeah, but that's on somebody else. So. But anyway, Johnny Uritis, is this story true? All right, he says, to the best of our knowledge, all of that stuff is fact. And if you have a problem with it, like, whatever, man. Let's just move on.
Please.
That's it. That's the story. That's episode 100. Next week, I feel like we're starting back at the beginning. Episode 101. Tony, what are we doing next week?
I think Pee-wee's booking Vince. I think Pee-wee's got Vince on.
Tony's taking a road trip to Steve Blackman's house.
We'll figure it out as we go. What's making me bitter this week is WWE's sneaky tactics. I turned into Raw live yesterday. Live, which I have not done in a long time. I normally do other stuff, and I'll catch Raw later in the week. But I wanted to watch because I heard that Bobby Lashley has a title shot, and they said it was at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I was so excited. And at 8 p.m., what happens? The Miz fakes an injury, and they push it to 9 p.m. And then at 9 p.m., the match is about to happen. Miz comes out, and what happens? He takes his belt and runs, getting counted out of the match. So they go, no, that's not how this is going to end. We're going to push it. 10 o'clock is when the match is. 10 o'clock is when Raw ends. I've had to sit through the goddamn commercials. I've had to sit through all this bullshit that I do not want to see.
This is brilliant.
And if Bobby Lashley did not win, I would have gone blank on the WWE. And I am so glad that he won because I was like, okay, good. I'm okay with that, having to sit and watch for 3 hours for Bobby Lashley, but I was so bitter up until about 9:55.
They Hogan Giant, they did that to you where they had you watch the whole episode of Xena, and instead of doing commercials, they aired Hogan versus Giant.
It was
they got you.
They got me. Producer Tony, what's making you bitter this week?
Home Improvement. No, not the show. I've been doing some home improvements around the house. I've been ripping up floors, ripping up carpet, if you know what I'm saying. And my back and knees are just destroyed. I can't move. It hurts to breathe. Like life sucks for your boy right here. I'm getting new flooring installed. I am not doing that, thank God. But I swear to God, if the contractor shows up and he looks like Steve Blackman, some shit's going down.
Ripping and a tearing. Pee-wee, what's making you bitter this week?
All right. First of all, be prepared to be underwhelmed. Secondly, it's about time. More than 2 years ago, Sasha and I were having a conversation via text message. We were talking about the upcoming weekend and how we were going to meet at producer's Tony house and watch that month's pay-per-view, the WWE pay-per-view. We were going to watch WrestleMania together. More importantly, like we said earlier, we were also discussing the tentative plans for recording the first episode of this podcast before we watched the pay-per-view. Sasha and I were wrapping up the conversation, and little did I know that the next few texts would change my life forever. This week, I'm bitter that I have to reveal the true meaning of FDT.
Yes.
I've closed
Underwhelming. You said underwhelming.
Oh,
right?
get ready. I have closed the show with the letters FDT since episode 1. This was not something that we ever discussed me doing. It was just a choice that I made, and no one ever questioned me doing it ever since. Since then, a few people, including producer Tony, have tried to...
I don't know what it is. I still don't know.
I believe the only people that do are me and Sasha. There have been, at one point, this was a hot topic on Twitter. People, including Tony, were trying to guess at what the abbreviation meant. Some of you guys have gotten insanely close, but no one has ever guessed correctly. So as Sasha and I closed our text conversation that night 2 years ago, one of the last thing he types was YGID. YGID. What the fuck? I sat and thought about it for a second, and then I figured it out. And I responded with CIO. I had figured out that Sasha typed out, after I said something about the show, he typed out YGID. You got it, dude. I then, without even saying, I didn't reference that I got it. I just responded with CIO ? Cut it out ? Against Sasha, no sells the cut it out Joey Gladstone reference, and Sasha simply responds with FDT. I was lost. Just as you are, I was lost. What the fuck does FDT stand for? Have mercy? No. You're in big trouble, mister? No. Oh my Lanta? No. Nothing worked. I guess the only thing that came to mind, I typed out and sent fucking Danny Tanner? ?
What? ? Hold on. I called this out several months ago. I think I said fuck Danny Tanner.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Not
totally,
fucking Danny
no, totally
Tanner.
different meaning. This was in my bitter at one point. Fuck Danny Tanner means fuck Danny Tanner. Like, fuck that guy. This is fucking Danny Tanner. This is the badass Danny Tanner. So I send fucking Danny Tanner ? To Sasha, and immediately, as if he was poised and ready to go, Sasha immediately responds back with that Danny Tanner gif of him holding the mug and raising his eyebrows in like that semi-seductive manner, and he said nothing, and that was it. I'll tweet a picture. I'll tweet that gif out this week, but that was it. It was never mentioned again until I said it at the end of the first episode when I closed the show with FDT. FDT stands for, and always has stood for, fucking Danny Tanner.
Oh, it was so close. God damn it.
Follow us on Twitter. Wait, what? What is this? New episodes drop every Friday morning, bittermarks.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at bittermarks. Email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. And last but not least, buy our shirts, prowrestlingtees.com/bittermarkscom. COM, as in Merch Madness is happening this weekend through Monday. Use promo code MADNESS to get 20% off anything in our store. Pee-wee, producer Tony, we need new letters. See you guys next week.
Bishop, Steph, Jen, my friend John, Megan, thank you guys for participating.
Bye.
FDT? Am I supposed to say it now? FDT?
I don't know. You gonna come
We
up
need
with something
new letters.
All right.
Yeah, we need new letters.
This could be our last episode.
FST.
Ooh.
All right, so clearly I forgot how to do the end of the show, but that doesn't matter. The reason why I'm talking now is because I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who sent us stuff to play, took time out of their day to actually send us a clip, and it was really awesome of you guys to do that stuff. It was really fun putting this crazy episode together. What's that? Oh, we have another one? Oh, all right. I guess we have one last clip for the day, but thank you all. We really appreciate it, and here's to the next 7 episodes before we quit this thing. Whatever. See ya.
Hey everyone, this is Doug E. Wrestling from the STF Underground Podcast, aka former DCWA superstar Enrico Suave. I wanted to take the time out to wish a special congratulations to some good buddies of mine, Sasha, or as I know him, Mr. Main Event, Tony, and especially Dan Pee Wee Morris for reaching 100 episodes of Bitter Marks. I know you've heard me and Pee Wee have some spats in the past, but it's all in good fun, and the truth is, he's smart, funny, and a great storyteller. But I don't have to tell you all that. You've heard him time and time again here, leading the way and being the star of the show. I didn't want to admit this, but I even watched his video game unboxing video. And can I just say, last week's episode that he hosted may have been my favorite episode of Bitter Marks yet. Anyway, congrats to all of you, and I hope we can get more Pee Wee-centric episodes in the next 100 shows. Fuck. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Hey, what's up? Oh yeah, just recording a little bit for that Bitter Marks show. Can you believe MME asked me to be nice? Oh man, that was rough. I can't believe they let him host last week's show. He literally sounded like he was Bret Hart mid-stroke. I don't know why they don't just replace him with Swick. Hell, even Triple S would be better, and he's probably off fucking some she-elf in EverQuest land or some shit. Yeah, did you see that unboxing video? What a joke. Wannabe Zack Ryder. Probably will just want to suck his... Oh shit, I'm still...